You remember the smell before you remember the taste? Charcoal smoke, hot grease hitting the grate, someone's dad, maybe yours, standing over the grill with a spatula in one hand and a cold beer in the other. Right before the patty comes off, a yellow square lands on top, curls at the edges, melts across the meat before anyone says it's ready. No one ever asked what kind of cheese it was. But here's something that might surprise you. That slice has been called fake processed, not real cheese. But every 4th of July, roughly 150 million Americans fire up a grill, and American cheese outsells every other cheese on burgers. The product everyone calls fake is the one everyone reaches for when the grill is hot and the family's waiting. Why does a cheese that half the country makes fun of end up on half the country's burgers? Before processed cheese existed, American cheese just meant cheddar made in America. It shipped to England as early as the 1790s. British merchants called it Yankee cheddar. The name started as an insult. The man who changed everything wasn't even American. James Kraft was born on a dairy farm in Stevensville, Ontario, Canada. 1903, he crossed the border into Chicago with $65 in his pocket and a rented horse. Every morning he'd buy cheese wholesale, load it onto a wagon, and sell it door to door to grocers on the south side. By the end of his first year, he'd lost his horse, most of his money, and nearly the business. But he kept going. His problem wasn't selling, it was spoilage. Natural cheese cracked in the cold, sweated in the heat, and grew mold before half the stock moved. Kraft needed cheese that could survive the road. He started grinding natural cheese down, heating it, blending it into something uniform and stable. 1916, he got the patent. Now here's the kicker. 1917, America enters World War I. The military needs food that can cross an ocean and survive a trench. Kraft ships 6 million pounds of processed cheese to U.S. troops in Europe. 6 million pounds. Soldiers who'd never heard of it ate it every day. And when they came home, they brought the taste with them. It went from ration to kitchen table in one generation. A Canadian immigrant's invention, carried across the Atlantic by American soldiers, became the cheese America put its name on. Here's the thing nobody tells you. American cheese still starts with real cheese. Large blocks of natural cheese, typically cheddar, Colby, or a blend arrive at the factory as the base. Workers strip the packaging and feed blocks into a grinding machine. Rotating blades break them into small, even pieces. Smaller pieces heat faster and blend more evenly than whole blocks. The ground cheese drops into a jacketed steel cooking vessel. Water, cream, whey, or other dairy ingredients go in depending on the recipe. Annatto gives most versions that familiar orange-yellow color. White American cheese skips it. Then come the emulsifying salts, sodium citrate, sodium phosphate. Their job is simple. Keep the melted cheese from separating into oil and protein. Without them, the mixture breaks. With them, it stays smooth. But here's the thing. Steam heats the outside of the vessel while heavy blades turn inside. The cheese pieces disappear into a thick, glossy mass that rolls over itself as it cooks. Operators watch temperature timing and texture. Too thick, too thin, too uneven, and the batch won't form identical slices or melt the same way on the grill. The margin is tight. Once the batch clears, pumps move the hot cheese through enclosed pipes to the forming line. Some factories spread it into a continuous ribbon cool, cut, stack. Others portion the hot mixture directly into wrapping film, flattening and sealing each slice as the line moves. Either way, every portion must hit the same weight, the same thickness, the same texture. Now here's the wild part. Cooling is just as critical as heating. As the slices pass through chilled sections of the line, that soft mixture firms up just enough to stack without losing its shape. Counted, grouped, sealed, refrigerated, shipped. And somewhere across the country, a lid comes down on a grill, and one of those slices does in 8 seconds what the entire factory spent hours engineering. It softens, spreads, covers the patty edge to edge, stays smooth through the first bite. That fast, even melt isn't luck. It's the result of how every ingredient was blended, heated, formed, and cooled calibrated so the slice performs the same way whether it's June in Miami or July in Minnesota. Cheddar and American cheese aren't competitors. They're built for different jobs. Cheddar ages for months, sometimes years, to develop a sharper, deeper flavor. That aging also makes it firmer, drier, slower to break down over heat. On a burger, a thick slice of sharp cheddar can release oil, hold its shape too long, or stay half solid while the patty underneath dries out waiting. American cheese trades that complexity for timing. It softens fast, spreads even, behaves the same way every single time. When a 4th of July grill is covered with 12 patties and the family's already in line with plates, nobody's waiting 3 extra minutes for the cheese to cooperate. The best slice on a crowded grill isn't the one with the deepest flavor. It's the one that's ready when the burger is ready. Here's where the story flips. For decades, food critics dismissed American cheese. Processed, plastic, not real. The kind of thing you'd find in a school cafeteria or a gas station sandwich. Nobody put it on a menu and bragged about it. Then the smash burger happened. In-N-Out, Shake Shack, Five Guys. Smash Burger. The best burger restaurants in America, the ones with hour-long lines and James Beard nominations, all use American cheese. Deliberately, not because it's cheap, because a thin smash patty cooks in 90 seconds, and American cheese is the only cheese that melts in time to match. Cheddar can't do it, Swiss can't do it, Brie won't even try. The product that food snobs called fake turned out to be the only one engineered well enough to keep up with the best burgers in the country. The same slice that sat in school lunchboxes now sits on $18 patties in Brooklyn. That's not a comeback. It was always doing its job. People just started paying attention. One thing worth knowing before your next grocery run. The label tells you more than you think. Pasteurized process American cheese that's made mainly from real cheese with emulsifying salts. It meets federal standards that include the word cheese. Pasteurized processed cheese food, less cheese, more dairy fillers. Pasteurized prepared cheese product, the broadest category, fewest requirements. The more words after cheese, the less cheese inside. Same pattern as Oreo spelling cream instead of cream. So saying American cheese isn't legally cheese is too simple. Some of it is, some of it isn't. The ingredient list tells you which. But here's what matters more than the label. American cheese wasn't designed to win a taste test against aged Gruyere. It was designed to melt on a burger before the meat dries out, to cover the surface evenly, to stay smooth through the first bite. That's what it does. That's all it was ever asked to do. And it's been doing it since a Canadian immigrant figured out how to make cheese survive a horse-drawn wagon in Chicago, and American soldiers carried it across an ocean. Same grill, same smoke, same yellow square. Your dad put it on your burger, now you put it on your kids. The cheese hasn't changed in 100 years. That's the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.